All right, so today we're going to talk about something called a special right triangle. And there are actually two special right triangles. One of them is going to be a 45, 45, 90 right triangle. So let me, first of all, just refresh our memories on the Pythagorean theorem. So if I had a right triangle, and it was isosceles, meaning that these two sides are the same. So let's say this was 3 and 3. I could do the Pythagorean theorem, and I could say that 3 squared plus 3 squared equals c squared. That would mean that 9 plus 9 is c squared. 9 plus 9 is 18. And if I factor out a perfect square from 18, I should get 9 and 2. The square root of 9 is 3 root 2. I'll do another one. 5 and 5. 5 squared plus 5 squared is c squared. That would be 50 is c squared. Taking the square root of 50, the perfect square that goes into 50 is 25. 2 times. So I get 5 root 2. So now I can kind of see that there's a pattern, and I'm not going to keep going. Really, you shouldn't make an estimate, a conjecture, based on two things in a pattern. But I know the rule, so I will allow it. I'm going to make this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And let's not do the Pythagorean theorem. Let's just look at the rule or the pattern. This was 3, 3, 3 root 2, 5, 5, 5 root 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 root 2. That is the answer. So that is your rule for a 45, 45, 90 triangle. Here we go. And I might cross some things out on here. So if you had these notes printed out, I'm totally going to change this number. So don't even look at this. But let's look at this one first. If you have the legs, and it's isosceles, so that would be 7, the rule is that you are multiplying the leg times root 2. So to get from the leg to the hypotenuse, multiply by root 2. So I'm going to pause that real quick and go and do some of these problems here. So I'm going to do all of these that I'm circling in green because these are the only ones where you have legs. So here we go. 2, 2, 2 root 2. Notice that all of these have 45 degrees inside of them. There is another special right triangle that will not have 45 degrees. 16, 16, 16 root 2. Let's go to 21, or 12. 9, 9, 9 root 2. 61, 61, 61 root 2. 33, 33, 33 root 2. Now the only time it's going to get a little bit difficult is if you don't have a whole number. So here's one, you have a leg. So in order to get the hypotenuse, you're going to take the leg times root 2. That's the rule, multiply by root 2. I know that there's a root 2 here already. We're not going to just say that's the answer. Whatever the number is, you multiply it by root 2. So root 2 times root 2 is 2. 27 was there. Now 27 times 2 is 54. I think that's all of them that just have legs. Yeah. Okay, so now let's talk about the hypotenuse. If you're going from the leg to the hypotenuse, you multiply by root 2. So what do you think happens when you go from the hypotenuse to the leg? You divide by root 2. So I'm going to change this because I don't like this problem for an example. Let's do an easy example, and let's say that this is 3 root 2. Technically, what you're doing is you're doing 3 root 2 divided by root 2. Root 2 divided by root 2 is just 1. So you have 1 times 3, which is just 3, and then 3. This is your easiest case scenario when you have a root 2 on the hypotenuse. So for example, number 3, you're dividing 8 root 2 by root 2 and getting 8 and 8. Number 9, here's your hypotenuse. You're dividing it by root 2 and getting 14 and 14. So again, that's like your easiest case scenario. Number 6, there is a root 2 in 4. It's just not factored out. So we're going to divide out a root 2. Now remember from yesterday, you can rationalize the denominator. So you would get 4 root 2 over 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. And then the green root 2 is just there. You don't touch that. So that's what both of these legs are, 2 root 2. You might also remember that there was a shortcut. So yesterday, if you had a whole number that was even, since you are dividing by root 2, there was a shortcut you could take, and you could just straight divide 82 by 2 and get 41, and then times root 2. But that's only going to work if this is an even number over a root 2. That would not work for number 2, where you have an odd number over root 2. So again, you're not going to change that to 7.5 root 2 or 6.5 root 2. You're going to multiply by root 2, multiply by root 2. So 13 root 2 over 2. You're going to start to get a lot of fraction answers. When you're doing questions online, most of the time they're going to be multiple choice, so you don't need to worry about typing this in. In the future, though, make sure you keep it improper. And you don't need to do anything else with that. Same thing, 55 over root 2. You cannot divide 55 and 2, so you can't divide 55 and root 2. You have to rationalize and get 55 root 2 over 2. Again, kind of a crazy looking number, but that's the answer. I'm going to make up 2 other questions that are not on here just because I want you to see how to do all of these types of problems, and I don't want any surprises if you have a worksheet. So let me make up 2 questions. I'm going to call them 13 and 14. And I'm going to make them, 3 root 6. And we'll do one where the hypotenuse is 8 root 7. All right, so these are 45, 45, 90 triangles. For this hypotenuse, I'm going to divide root 2. Now, if it's divisible as a whole number, it can be divisible as a radical. So root 6 over root 2 is root 3. And so then 3 root 3 would be each of these legs. Okay. This one is going to be 8 root 7 over root 2. Now, 7 is not divisible by 2, so I have to rationalize my denominator. That would give me 8 roots of 14 over whole 2. Not done yet, because whole 8 and whole 2 become a whole 4 root 14. And then this would be 4 root 14. So that is the 45, 45, 90 triangle. This has easier rules than the one we will do next week, because in this one you're only just doing multiply or divide. That's it. When we get to the next special right triangle, the rules become a little bit more specific based on what you are given. So this is definitely the easier of the two triangles. So for right now, let's just worry about the 45, 45, 90. Okay? I will post all of these answers in Google Classroom so that you have these notes, and then you can get started on the Eagle Formative.